If you are at all looking in the direction of your screen right now, you can clearly see that Raquel Pennington versus Juliana Pena takes place this weekend at UFC 307. And this is not just a prediction video. This is also a plea for Kayla Harrison to save the UFC's women's bantamweight division. Because I'm checking Raquel Pennington's interview on MMA Junkie right now. It has 4,000 views on the week of the fight where Raquel Pennington is defending her title on a pay-per-view in the co-main event position. I also checked out the UFC countdown for this fight. It has 17,000 views after over a day of it being uploaded. The men's fight obviously has, I think, over 100,000 by now. I checked out a short of Raquel Pennington. This is more so to do with Raquel Pennington than it is to do with Juliana Pena. Because Juliana Pena does add a little bit of hype to some of these fights. But Raquel Pennington, there was an interview of her in March of this year where she's talking about how her life has changed as the UFC champion since winning the belt. And there's 5 likes on the entire short. And 1 comment in total. And for some weird reason, every time Raquel Pennington talks, it sounds like she's reading off a script. And this is coming from someone who's literally looking at the wall right now, talking to absolutely nobody. And I feel like I sound more human than Raquel Pennington when she's giving, like, full emotional, like, from the heart messages to her fans. I have 12 subscribers on YouTube. I was contemplating making this video or not making this video just because I felt like even though I have 12 subscribers and I have, like, 1,000 views in total on YouTube, I thought I would get lost to the algorithm. I would get lost to the algorithm if I uploaded this video because no one in their right mind is typing in the words Raquel Pennington versus Juliana Pena in any different assortment or combination. You know what I mean? And it's not just the fact that they're really, really unpromotable, especially Raquel Pennington. It's also the fact both of them have losses over fighters in the division that you shouldn't be having losses to if you want to move forward with the division and, like, promote some new people and not just hold on to the past, like some old fucks like Holly Holmes. Amanda Nunes isn't that old, but, like, she's retired from the sport, so she's old in that way, I suppose. Jermaine Durandamy, another old fighter. Let's look at their record. Both of them have losses to Amanda Nunes. Immediate red flag. Because if you don't move on from Amanda Nunes and get out of her shadow, you need to either have never fought her, or, well, that's it. You must have never fought her. Because it feels like every single contender in the division has at some point or other lost to Amanda Nunes. Other losses, Jermaine Durandamy, she's an old lady at this point. Both of them have losses to her. For some reason, Juliana Pena, this massive, like, jiu-jitsu wizard, has 2 submission losses to Valentina Shevchenko and Jermaine Durandamy. How does that make any sense? You are losing to fighters that we should be looking at the rear view mirror at this point in their careers. Like, we've moved on from that era of women's fighting, and this is a new breed of women's fighting. I can honestly say Kayla Harrison probably ragdolls both of them, but it's more fun if she fights Juliana Pena because I think the build-up would be better. But we'll see who my pick is. Other than that, it's quite clear that the UFC wants Kayla Harrison as the champion. I mean, it's not really any secret. UFC 300 was a massive card. They have Kayla Harrison make her debut against Holly Holmes, who's probably the biggest name in that division outside of Juliana Pena or Amanda Nunes herself, I suppose. I think Kayla Harrison is more promotable than any of those people are. She also has a fan base like that follow her from, like, the judo wrestling scene, you know what I mean? Like, the fact that she has gold medals, like 2 gold medals, I believe, in the Olympics, that adds some promotability to her. Like, you can compare her to, like, Henry Cejudo, Daniel Cormier, Ronda Rousey, like, you know, like other Olympians that won something or maybe didn't but were still Olympians. She's won more than all of them except for maybe like Henry Cejudo, I suppose. She is the most accomplished. She might be the most accomplished Olympian in the history of, like, the UFC ever that they've ever seen. She's fighting Ketlen Viera this weekend. Ketlen Viera, best win, honestly, in my opinion, was a robbery over Holly Holmes. That was her big win. I think Kayla Harrison probably ragdolls Ketlen Viera. I don't think Ketlen Viera's striking is good enough. I think Kayla Harrison looks like Holly Holmes, doesn't she? I think Kayla Harrison probably ragdolls her. Probably gets outstruck on the feet a little bit, but I think she'll just close up the distance just so quickly. She's good enough on the feet to the point where, like, Viera has to respect her. Like, she can throw 1-2s, 1-1s, and just ram into her, push her against the fence, take her down, and probably just ground and pound her. I think this will be one of the rare moments where we see, like, a woman actually getting a finish. I'm expecting a round 2 or 3 finish from Kayla Harrison in this fight. I think she will wear down Ketlen Viera. And I think she beats Raquel Pennington and she beats Juliana Pena. I don't think Juliana Pena's submission game is at all elite enough to the point where at all elite enough to the point that she has you believing that it is. Because think about it, right? She has 2 submission losses against 2 fighters who rarely get submission wins, I suppose. I think Valentina's not too bad as a submissionist, but she doesn't usually get submission wins. I think Kayla Harrison potentially could also bring back Amanda Nunes to the division. And I know that Amanda Nunes is not the biggest name, you know what I mean? In terms of selling pay-per-views. Even when she was champion, even when she was dominant, she was not the biggest name in the division. But I feel like the fact that Kayla Harrison could be matched up against Amanda Nunes, that could honestly... Now, don't hate me for this, but Brazil always gets the short end of the stick. You're lying if you're saying that they don't. The Brazilian pay-per-views are always like the black sheep of the UFC pay-per-views in some ways. I can see Amanda Nunes return fight, this legend, this Brazilian legend, lesbian, you know what I mean? Coming back and having a fight with Kayla Harrison as the main event of a pay-per-view. And I don't think it would be the worst main event the UFC's ever put on. Which is something rare to say about a women's main event. Especially on a pay-per-view. Raquel Pennington's the same thing. The big thing Raquel Pennington really does is like she grinds you against the cage, like holds you there. She has good boxing, but again, that level of grappling and jiu-jitsu is just not going to be enough. Kayla Harrison will ragdoll her, take it down. Ground and pound. I think Kayla Harrison... Tell me if I'm wrong. I think Kayla Harrison versus Ketlen Viera is a bigger fight than Juliana Pena versus Raquel Pennington. And that's no disrespect, but imagine they take the belt right off of Raquel Pennington's shoulders and put it on Kayla Harrison's shoulders. And this is the co-main event. The card is not only significantly better, but Juliana Pena and Raquel Pennington drops out of the main card in place of probably Wonder Boy and Jaqueen Buckley. Am I wrong? Be honest right now. Am I wrong? And I just want to say one more thing. One of the reasons the UFC Apex is so terrible is because we know they're not going to lead to anything. Like, nothing exciting is happening. Who cares if Tracy Cortez loses to Amanda Nunes? Literally nothing will come of that fight. Who cares if Lemos fights Jandiroba? I think that was a fight that happened this year. No one. Manon Fiorot and Erin Blanchfield, I guess that was probably like the best one. It was in front of a crowd for one. And I guess because there were some implications, like the winner of that fight is going to get to fight Valentina Shevchenko for a title. But other than that, some of these main events are trash just because there's nothing on the line. If you have someone like Kayla Harrison as champion, maybe on a UFC Apex Fight Night we get Juliana Pena versus Ketlen Viera. The winner gets a shot at Kayla Harrison. It's not going to be the craziest main event because of it, but think about it. There's something on the line. You're fighting for something. There's promotion to be had there. Kayla Harrison afterward tweets, "I'll see you in December," something like that. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, we're excited for the future. I think Kayla Harrison as champion makes the division better. It makes the UFC Apex women's main events better. Because you know for a fact, no matter how much we bitch and moan about it, they're never, ever, ever, never going to stop having those fights. There's just too many fights in a year to not have a week where you have nothing going on and there's just 2 women laying around. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's get to the picks for these matchups on the weekend. As you can see, I have a multi $200. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I have Kayla Harrison destroying Ketlen Viera, and I have Raquel Pennington beating Juliana Pena. I talked about Kayla Harrison and Viera, but let's quickly round up with Pennington versus Pena. I feel like Juliana Pena has some of the most amateurish striking that I think I've ever seen in my life. When she was striking with Amanda Nunes, I think Amanda Nunes just wanted to, she had that Jose Aldo effect, you know what I mean? Where, she was just so emotional for no reason whatsoever. On the week of their first fight against Juliana Pena, that she just went in there and just started, throwing haymakers, swinging and rah, you know what I mean? And then Juliana Pena, with her eyes closed, fought her a few times, drops her, submits her. And that was that. In the second fight, when Amanda Nunes decided to have a more cerebral approach to the fight, she dropped her, took her down, didn't go into the guard of her. I don't know why. I don't think Pena's guard is really all that. She's just throwing up weak triangle submissions like every women's MMA fighter does. That have unless you're literally letting them do it, there's no chance of them really hitting women's triangle up their back. It's real rare that you ever see stuff like that. Anyway, I feel like Pennington's got better striking. She'll keep her distance. She has no problem having a boring fight, obviously. Like, we saw what her last performance was like. Yeah, I think she'll just do that. Push her against the cage, hold her there, knee her in the thigh, strike her from a distance. Pena will run in, like, eyes closed, like, trying to make something happen. She'll probably get caught. I feel like Pennington will probably get caught a few times here and there just because women's fights go that way, I suppose. I think she'll get cracked. Probably hurt a little bit. For the most part, though, maybe Pena, gets a takedown, but I don't think she will. Maybe she gets one and then Pennington's right back on her feet. I'm expecting this to go to the decision. 49-46. Afterwards, Pena says, I didn't lose, I just ran out of time. That delusional thing that she does. And, one more thing. Juliana Pena in an interview recently just said that the UFC has told her that the winner of Viera versus Harrison is next for the title shot. So that just immediately tells you the UFC is looking past this fight. No matter who wins, they don't care. They want Kayla Harrison as the champion. I'm all on board with it. The UFC will hype the shit out of Kayla Harrison. He was almost undefeated his entire career. Choked one fight in PFL. That's in the UFC. Destroyed Holly Holmes. Hopefully she finishes Ketlen Viera to really add some excitement. Because when, like, fighters get finishes, they get more hype around them. There's more highlights, more ESPN. You know how it goes. Anyway, these are my predictions. That's my bet. Please, Kayla Harrison, please save UFC women's bantamweight. Because if you don't do it, I don't want to be stuck for the next 6 months, a year, 2 years of Raquel Pennington as champion. End her. Finish her off. Like, share, and subscribe. I have 12 subscribers. Try to get me to 15, please. It's tough out here. Also, like the video. It helps a long way. Thanks. Bye.